Sammy, you gonna do it already?
She might. Hi, Bobby. Hello and welcome to my Holeyboard setup video out of the box. So I'm gonna walk you quickly through how to set it up, some different configuration options that you can do, and then get you rolling. So the first thing, obviously, is we're gonna open up our box that was hand-packed by me. You've got your extra pack of zip ties that are handy to have. And then this is gonna be your master hardware pack. To make things easiest, I found we're gonna start and we're gonna empty this hardware pack. In the box will be your 1, 2, 3. This is gonna be on the top, is gonna be, you can tell because there's a flat spot on the back. This is our module 1. Also has the fancy Holeyboard logo on it. If you keep unwrapping, you're gonna find this is your module 3 foot pedal module. It's Sammy's favorite module right there. So I'm gonna put this right by her. And then underneath is gonna be this is your module 2. You can tell it's the module 2 because there's no Holeyboard logo. And then if you turn around the back, there's 4 of the rectangular holes there. We don't have the flat spot in the back. It's important to know which module is which because of the slight difference in height. All right, so we're gonna put these here, and now we're gonna open up our hardware pack. Your instructions, and the first thing that it says is watch the setup video, which congratulations, you've done. A couple of fancy stickers. I know everybody likes stickers, I do too. All right, so we've got in here, this is gonna be our Z connector. In the hardware pack, I've got more zip ties for you. So there's a total of 50 that come with it, which should keep you going pretty well, for a pretty long time. I'm actually, as you probably have guessed, I'm shooting this at my dining room table with my cat, who's a really good helper. We're gonna start putting our hardware, and let's just put it in different piles. These are the rubber feet. Now, if you have purchased of your old Holeyboard user from way back, or even from a year ago, I used to have 2 sizes of rubber feet, and I've made it simpler, always trying to make the easiest pedal board to use and reconfigure. So now we just have 1 size of rubber feet, right? Lucky 13. It was pretty funny because Ryan, who's shooting the video, say hi, Ryan.
Hello.
We were just talking about how 13 is actually my lucky number. I was born on the 13th. So anyway, there's 13 feet. Hopefully you don't feel like it's unlucky. All right, the next thing I have 3 different types of screws, okay? The largest screw is an M6 screw. You can always shoot me an email if you lose one and I'll send you one, or you go to any hardware store. M6 is just metric version. It's a very common screw. It's 16 millimeters long. For today, we're just gonna call it the big screw, all right? So the big screw, we're gonna have, again, 13, and you're gonna see that there's a logic, because we're using these big screws to put together the feet. The other component that's gonna be for the foot assembly that is also 13 is there's 3 types of nuts in here, okay? The largest nut that does not have little metal rings. You see this nut? This nut that has little metal rings is called a Keps nut. It's a genius invention, and it's basically a built-in lock nut. And I took apart my amp that Steve Carr designed, and I thank him for using the Keps nuts, because now I use them. It's like, wait, what? So the other biggest nut without the jag, it's the one that there's the most nuts of. Let's put those aside, okay? All right, 13 of those nuts, okay? Next, we're gonna put it's a rubber C-channel. It's for the back bumper if you're worried about hardwood floors or something like that. I will show you where those go. We're gonna put those there. The next thing we're gonna separate is, they're the larger screws, but they're short, okay? These are also M6 screws. They're the same screw as this, same thread, but they're only 12 inches long. We only have 2 of them, okay? So they go right here. And what matches up with those are the 2 large nuts, the large Keps nuts. The last screws are these little tiny screws. Again, if you lose them or you want to know what they are, they're number 8 32 thread screws that you can get at any hardware store. And what goes along with them are the little Keps nuts. And these are number 8 Keps nuts. These are not metric. Everything else is metric. All right, the last component is going to be these are washers. They're spacers, and there's going to be 10 spacers. All right. So this is a complete hardware pack. The only thing that you need tool-wise is a Phillips screwdriver. If you want your life to be like a little faster, if you've got any sort of a cordless drill or a cordless screwdriver with a Phillips bit, that's all you need today to do the setup. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out what general layout we want, and then we're gonna put the hardware on, okay? So, hey Sammy. The module 1 goes over and overlaps the module 2, and then it can adjust, you know, whatever size you want. It can go from, we'll show you, you can actually use these individually, I'll do that at the end. But you know, like 13 or 14 inches out to, you know, 30 inches or 26 inches, just the two. And if you're a person that doesn't have a wah-wah pedal or a volume, you could say, you know, Chris, I'm just gonna put together modules 1 and 2 to start, and then you can keep your module 3 for later. If you wanna put the whole 1, 2, 3 together, it's nice to have the extra space. Just think about which way you're gonna put it. This is the way that I configure mine, is I actually put the module 1 on the right, I put the module 2 on the left, and I like my wah to go first in my chain, okay? So I'm gonna put my module 3 right here. And then the next thing to do before we put any hardware together is say, just go get the pedals that you're planning on using, and you don't have, I mean, within a short time you should know the order, but for this step, you know, the general order, you know, be like, well, I'm gonna put my delay up there, and like, you know, the vapor trail, and like, you know, I've got a Strymon. You can put them obsessively close. I mean, you want my personal recommendation is give yourself, for ergonomics and ease of use while you're playing with a band, since we've got the expandability, give yourself enough space between your pedals, you know. It's kind of nice to not have to force them in, you know. So it's like, when these holes line up, when you overlap the holes that line up, I'll show you how we're gonna connect them together. Then you can see also in the back, you can see all the different sizes. For me today, I'm gonna go like, kind of like this. So I'm like, okay, this is about the right size I want. I wanna put my number 3 module right there. All right, let's do it. So I'll take my pedals off. I'm gonna show you how the easy way of putting the feet on. So these are my own custom feet, and the whole way this goes together was because, you know, not to rip on any particular brand of any sort, but you know, the adhesive feet with the little sticky that comes with everything in the guitar world, they fall off, they get knocked off, they melt off. I wanted this, part of the beauty of the Holeyboard is that because everything is it's thin, it's light, and it's strong. And because it's thin, light, and strong, it's low profile to the floor, which makes the ergonomics of stepping on it so much easier. You know, when you're hovering your foot over your, you know, boost pedal before a solo, you don't have to like hold your foot high up in the air. And the thing that gives it its structure and its strength are the feet. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna construct each foot, and it goes really fast. So the feet, on the feet side, you can see there's a big hole and there's a small hole, okay? The small hole side is gonna go against the bottom of the Holeyboard. The big hole side we're gonna put down, and we're gonna take our large nut, okay? We're gonna push it right in the hole, and then take your screwdriver over your Phillips screwdriver and just push it down. You don't have to push it far, it goes just right about there. That's it. Let's start by just making 4 of those, okay? Making 4, I'm just pushing it all the way down with my thumb. We're gonna take our module 2. This is an important step. The module 2 first, okay? So the module 2, we're gonna take the large screws, okay? The large screw. We're gonna take the foot, and the small hole goes against the bottom of the board, and you can see there's a chamfered hole, right? There's on each corner. I'm putting the screw there. I'm gonna push this into the hole, and I'm kind of, with this hand, I'm pinching, okay? I'm just pinching, so I'm holding that nut in place, and while I'm holding it, I'm gonna go, and I'm only gonna tighten enough until this doesn't turn. That's it, all right? I've put in a foot, so I'm gonna do this 4 on the module 2. If you over tighten it, I mean, it's not the end of the world, you'll see this foot kind of compressed. Just unscrew it a little because you don't want it to rock, okay? All right, so we've got all 4 feet on our module 2, okay? So we're gonna put our module 2 right here. So I'm gonna explain the why of this next step so that it makes sense. Sammy, I'm gonna have to move you so everybody can see, okay? I know, this is awfully good though. All right, so there's 3 different patented features. There's an overall design patent, there's a patent on the hole patterns, and one of the other patents is the expandability feature. The expandability is reliant on our telescoping back and forth and we're overlapping. So the engineering-minded people will notice that there's a difference in size. It's 125 thousandths. So this is 125 thousandths thick aluminum. And so what we need to do is when we put the next foot on, we need to make space for that foot. So we're gonna take, and we only need 2 feet because as you can see, this part is being supported by the module 2, and we're just gonna put foot here and here, right under the logo on module 1. So we take module 1, okay? And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make 2 feet. I'm gonna take my large screw and I'm gonna put it through the hole that's chamfered on the corner along right where the logo is. And on the inside, I'm taking the foot and the small hole goes against the board, but in between the small hole and the Holeyboard, I'm gonna slide this spacer on, okay? So I'm gonna slide that spacer, and then I'm gonna put this just like so, and then everything else is the same. I just squeeze it. I'm gonna tighten it down. That's kind of fun. I mean, you can see inside when the nut is getting the screw. If for some reason you're just spinning or it's not catching, your nut might be pulled out, and you can see when you've caught the nut. All right, so we're gonna put that for now. We're just gonna rest that like that. Because I want my wah or my volume pedal on the right side, on this side for me, it's on the side of the module 1, which is higher, so I'm gonna put all spacers on the feet. If you wanna put this module at the end of your chain, it can absolutely go over on this side, no problem, but then you don't need the spacers. I'm gonna put this guy together real quick. All right, so I've put all of my 5 feet on the module 3. There's one that goes in the middle. All right, so the next part we're gonna do is, I'm gonna take my 2 M6 shorter screws. These are the kind of the bigger screw, but the short one. And the 2 Keps nuts, the large Keps nuts, not the little ones that go with them. Whatever I've decided my spacing is gonna be, you can see that these 2 holes that are the outer chamfered holes, I just put in a screw, and then while I'm just holding it with my thumb, I'm just gonna tighten it, just finger tight, okay? Also, while I'm here, one of the greatest features for the Holeyboard that was designed, as you can see, it's really easy when you're putting zip ties or pedals on or cleaning it up or doing cable management or working with a power supply from underneath, it sits really well on the bottom. So I put these 2 screws in. They're just kind of finger tight. Because they've got the Keps nuts, I don't need pliers or anything like that, okay? You could just take your, whatever you're using. I mean, it might just be your Phillips that's in your hand. I don't need the drill. And I'm holding it a little bit, but you'll see when I tighten it, the lock nut washer that's attached grips onto the board, and I can get it nice and tight, okay? If this is what you're doing today, you're ready to go and start putting your pedals on and your power supply. For everybody who wants to get the whole 1, 2, 3 configured, we're gonna now attach the number 3 module. It is gonna use these 4 little Keps nuts and the 4 smallest number 8 screws, okay? And it's gonna use the Z connector. When I invented this, I had a series called Zigzag. And then I kept the Z connector. And these parts, you can always add a current module 3 onto your old Zigzag that you've got. So what I'm gonna do is, you can see there's 4 holes, the chamfered holes, okay? The easiest way to do it is just put a screw in there, hold it kind of just with your thumb, okay? And then I'm gonna take a Keps nut, don't tighten them all the way, it'll make your life easier. All right, and then so that's what it looks like. It's overhanging, see the edge, like that? Okay, this is the easiest way to do it. And then we can turn this guy up, I'm gonna take another screw. I'm just gonna match this up. These go right next to each other. Keps nut. And again, we're gonna do kind of what we did last time. I'm just kind of holding it just with just my fingers, and I take my Phillips screwdriver, and you'll see you can tighten it right up. You can see that nut's not moving. It's super secure. And thus we have a completed Holeyboard 1, 2, 3. Now that we've gotten it this far, you know, let's say you put some pedals on, you don't have enough room, you just need to take these 2 screws out, and then you can adjust the width back and forth. And then if you wanted to flip this the other side, you would just put the Z connector over onto this side rather than this side. Take your pedals, you arrange them, you know, wherever you want. I'm gonna do one briefly, and then I'm gonna suggest you watch I have a video on my website, holeyboardpedalboards.com, under videos, and it's called Setup Tips and Tricks. I highly recommend you watch it. It's pretty short. I think it's 3 or 4 minutes. And I do a lot of stuff with zip ties, okay? But for those of you that are just getting started and just wanna kind of get going, one of the nice features is the use of zip ties. And it's just, you know, putting the pedals where you want them. We're gonna put it through the hole, cinch it kind of down, get it about where you want it. And then what I do is, you can see right here, I'm getting it kind of close to that edge, and I want to end up tightening it like a right angle, kind of right on the hole, okay? And then it's, you know, nice and super tight. You can take a pliers and pull on it. That's it for the basic setup. The one other thing that I wanted to cover is the different things that you can do with this setup right out of the box. And I did mention it a little bit, but the 1, 2, 3 is like, it's, you know, for 90% of people, it's literally all you're probably ever gonna need. So I'm just gonna take these 2 screws and Keps nuts out, and I would just put these extra pieces into a, you know, in your hardware pack. And the reason that there's extra hardware that we haven't used is that I've set it up so that, you know, out of the box, or if you change, like sometimes you just like, hey, I'm playing with fewer pedals, or I've got a blues rig I'm putting together, or I'm playing at my church, or, you know, I'm doing like a metal band. You know, I've got enough hardware where you can use this module 2 all by itself, just like this. You could also use the module 1 all by itself. I've got extra feet here that you just put on, and then you could have this 1 and 3 combo just like this to use whatever you want. You could just use these 2 together. Some people use the module 3 turned sideways for mini pedals. You can do that too. The last thing that I want to show you, say you're on hardwood floors or something like that, and some people there's these 2 C channels, and these just go however you've got it set up. You just take it on the 2 ends of your Holeyboard. It just kind of presses onto the edge like so. And so if you had the whole 1, 2, 3, I would put one right there and then over at this end, but I mean, that's how those go on. And then those are just giving you a little bit of extra cushion and bumper. So that's my setup of the Holeyboard 1, 2, 3. Again, check out my other videos on my website, holeyboardpedalboards.com, and I hope you have a great day.
All right, go get Sammy.
You're helping put it together, yeah. This is a Keps nut. You say Keps nut, yeah, rubber foot. Sammy's a big analog delay fan. Yep, analog delay. I know, that's a great pedal. Yep.